Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Good to see y'all. Thank you so much for joining me today for this launch for MMK. Now, if you are a fan of this channel, you know I love MMK and what they do over there. And let me just take a quick second here just to express my gratitude for Jordan and Mary. They are huge supporters of mine, and I am a huge supporter of theirs, and it's a very fun collaboration. But they are two of the most wonderful people I think I've ever met in my journey as a guitarist in this industry and in this platform and everything. But thank you, Jordan and Mary, for including me on this. It means so much to me, more than you realize. And thank you so much for just building wonderful gadgets. We love them. So, that aside, what do we have today? We have the Pavlov Fuzz. Now, what's cool about this is, and what's cool about MMK in general is they're based in Alaska. And Jordan sent me a cool note here about the Pavlov. Let me read this really quick. Jordan said, I spent quite a few years traveling all over Alaska. I frequented the Aleutian Islands and the Alaskan Peninsula. I hope I pronounced that right. Mount Pavlov and Sister Pavlov are two volcanoes in this area. And he said he's flown over those two volcanoes many times. So he says 2 volcanoes, 2 transistors, and a pair. Both to create and destroy. I love that. I love that, Jordan. So what do we have here? So on the right-hand side, we've got more of a fuzz face type circuit. On the left, we've got more of like a Darlington kind of fuzz thing. But what makes this special is this right button. This right switch is the equivalent of playing a killer gnarly fuzz and rolling your volume off to get those glassy bluesy tones. So this takes the rolling off out of the equation. Now you might say, that's fine, I can roll off. Why do I need a foot switch to do that? Well, what I think is cool about this is my opinion, is if you like that tone that you get from stepping on this, it's kind of a set and forget. So that way if you bump your volume or whatever, it doesn't mess with that tone. So I think that's cool. I also think just in general, like this is like a dual pedal in one, obviously. So if you like that specific tone, just use that tone. If you don't want to use the fuzz, then you got this awesome, really cool kind of bluesy transistor breakup thing. So what's cool about the fuzz face circuit and the Darlington circuit is they're definitely different. You're going to notice pretty, not stark, but I would say they're very different. And as I move this frequency knob, because it's got settings, this is like a ticked setting. It's not like a rolling knob. So there are settings for the frequency. And what you're going to hear is, and what I heard when I've been playing this is, you'll start to hear some like harmonics, like rich harmonics enter the frequency as we go through that. And it really does do a great job of kind of running the rainbow of flavors across the board. But I'm going to shut up. I don't need to be talking. If you really want to know about this stuff in terms of the nerdy folks, the transistors that are in these are Fairchild 2N2222A transistors. That doesn't mean anything to me, but Jordan knows his stuff, and I'm not going to argue it. Let's play guitar. I'm going to play the Strat. We're going to go into the 2-Rock Bloomfield Drive. Here is the clean-ish tone. Let's go right into it. We're going to start on the right-hand side. This is more of that fuzz face circuit. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to dump the frequency knob all the way to the left. That was like right up in the middle. So here's starting all the way to the left, and I'm going to work my way around. The amplitude is just volume, so we're going to leave that alone where it is right now. Alright, here we go. Position 2. Position 3, where we started. Alright, let's go to the next position. Position 4, which is the final one. Alright, cool. Let's jump over to the Darlington. We're going to do the same thing. So you can kind of see that Darlington is a little bit edgier. I think it's got a little bit more grittiness to it, a little bit more high-end art, like harmonics in there. It's just like a little bit more punchy, and whereas like I feel like the Fuzz face has that like typical Fuzz face hair around the edges kind of vibe. Still punchy, still really, I love Fuzz faces, but you can tell there's a difference between the two for sure. All right, so I'm going to leave it on the 4th setting for each because I like that kind of spitty, more Velcro-y thing. And then let's go to the, I'll show you what the cleanup button does. Switch. Start with the Fuzz face. pretty awesome. Totally, like I said, it's like two different pedals in one. So it's like a little bit like a few steps down on the stairwell from that heavier fuzz. It's pretty awesome. All right, so let's start on 4 again on the Darlington, and I'm gonna pop in that second switch. I think this is so cool. I mean, it is like the next step in an inventive, innovative way to kind of make a new fuzz. Even though it's like our kind of like familiar flavors of fuzz with the Darlington and the fuzz face, that cleanup is just so fun. It's got like just enough hair on the edges that, I mean, you could do, here, check this out. So I could do like a rhythm crunch channel with it. Dude, what is not to like about that? Let me grab the Les Paul real quick. All right, cool. Got my buddy Todd's Les Paul that you saw last week. And here is the cleanup, position 4. Sounds great with humbuckers. All right, let's go in the fuzz face, and then we're going to start on position 1 and go to position 4. All right, here's the cleanup. Neck pickup. So, I do need to roll my volume back just a smidge with the humbuckers, because these are really hot humbuckers, but still. Very cool, Jordan and Mary. Very, very cool. These things, I should say, are really, really inventive and very, very fun to play. It feels so good under your fingers, too. The Darlington, I would say I'm kind of leaning more into the Darlington for some reason. Like, I've been a fuzz face guy my whole life, but the Darlington has this vibe, man. It's got this chewy, kind of wraps around you like a warm blanket fuzz. I like that. I like that a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, please check out MMK Electrics. Go to this link right here and say hello. Tell them I sent you. And get you one of these. It's friggin' rad. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I'll see you next time.